Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Sam Houston Race Park here on Sunday. It is the 30th of January 2022. Gonna look at the stakes races on the program from Sam Houston, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and also join me Saturday for my Holy Bull preview from Gulfstream. An excellent card there, so make sure you join me for that. But excellent card from Sam Houston. It's their big card of the year. We're gonna look at all the stakes races, races 5 through 10. And if you like turf racing, there's turf racing aplenty, so let's get to it. Starting with the fifth race, it's on the lawn. It's the Pulse Power Turf Sprint. It's going for a purse of $100,000, race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field here of 8 horses going to the turf course, the distance of ground of 1,000 meters, or the distance of ground of 5 furlongs on the Sam Houston turf course. 1,000 meters, 5 furlongs, turf course. And I'll show the diagram. Just gives me a second to look down my notes. Just bear with me. Sorry, I'm stupid. I can't do two things at the same time. I'm going to take the 4-horse Bad Beat Brian as a top selection. We'll go 4-2-1-7 in the superfecta. 4-2-1-7 super. Top selection 4-horse Bad Beat Brian. This 5-year-old gun by Jack Milton. Mike Maker trains. Tyler Gaffleon gets the mount. 8-5. His most recent appearance came the 4th of December at Gulfstream Park. About 5 furlongs on the turf course in the Claiming Crown in Canterbury. And the horse went by a length that day. And he sat back early after not the best beginnings. He slowly moved his way up, and he powered ahead late, earning 96 bar, which was his best of his career. That was an all-around good run. Coming here, very fast horse, very speed-favoring turf course, speed from the rails good. I think he really run a good race. 2 back in the lounge race, 92,000. Keelan, 5.5 furlongs, 22nd of October. He finished second by 3/4 length there, and he just kind of stalked, but he could never get that good turn of foot. He didn't run bad, but he just couldn't get that good turn of foot. I thought it was an okay effort. And then before that, Kentucky Downs, 6.5 lounge race, 25,000. He finished second by 2 lengths, and again, he just kind of was a little lackadaisical. I don't think he really appreciated Kentucky Downs. And then before that at Del Mar, 5 furlongs and option 40. He finished third by 2.25 lengths. And again, he sat back early, a little bit of a trouble trip on the tight, narrow turf course, but he got there for place there. And then before that, Del Mar, 5 furlongs and option 40. He finished third by 2.5 lengths. He was drawn very, very wide, was stupidly wide around the turn. For him to get third, I thought it was an okay race, but he really could have did better with a better post draw. Coming here at 8-5, I think he has a lot of sportly pace. I think he could get the job done. You also have to use the 2-horse Archdust. 6-year-old horse by Verrazano. If there's going to be a horse coming from a little bit behind, I think it could be him. Most recently ran Ellis in the Kentucky Downs preview turf sprint where he finished 6 by 5 lengths, where he had a very horrible trip from a stupidly wide post draw. But before that, he had a very good race at Lone Star, and his races here in Texas haven't been half bad. His buyer's up to par, 3-1. We'll use him on the ticket also. But to recap my selection for the 5th from Sam Houston, it's the Pulse Power Turf Sprint. Let's take the 4-horse Bad Beat Brian. Give kudos to the 2-horse Archidust, 4-2-1-7 super. 4-2 in the multi-wraith. Let's get to the 6th from Sam Houston. The 6th race from Sam Houston, it is the Bob Bork Texas Turf Mile. It's going for a purse $200,000, race for 3-year-olds here. We have a field of 11 horses heading to the lawn, the distance of ground of 1,600 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile on the Sam Houston Turf Course. 1,600 meters, 1 mile here in the Texas Turf Mile. And I think last year was the first time they ran this race, and it was a very exciting race. So, keep an eye on some of these horses as the year goes on. You might see some of these horses that up in like the American Turf at Churchill in May, some in the Belmont Derby maybe later in the year. It's a very good race here, and I think if it keeps going good, you might see possibly great in the next few years. But that's we'll have to wait and see. My top selection, I love the 2-horse Dowajek and Chief. We'll go 2-4-7-6 in the superfecta for me. 2-4-7-6 super top selection. 2-horse Dowajek Chief, 3-year-old colt by Cairo Prince, Tom Amos trains, James Graham gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 4th of December at the fairgrounds, about a mile 16th in Ops 50 claimer, stepping down in class from his previous race, first time Lasix. He won by 5.5 lengths and basically on the front and all throughout, walked in there, and he just took off clear. An all-around good race. Come to stakes quality horses, not the toughest stakes quality horses in the world. I think he could really run a good race. I do like his front-running style on this turf course. 2 back in the Bourbon at Keelan, mile 16th on 10th of October. He finished 5th by 4 lengths. He was with him early on. He just couldn't get there late, but he still ran his heart out. But he did get beat by slightly better horses. And then before that, Kentucky Downs, 6.5 in main special weight. He won by a half length on the front and all throughout. He got the job done. A little bit of a uneasiness late, but he still got the job done. They tried him on dirt before that, Saratoga. One of those rare 2-year-old mile and eighth races on dirt, and made 100,000. He finished 7th by 28.25 lengths, and I thought they were setting their heights a little bit too high. 2-turn mile and eight's very very tiring, especially as a 2-year-old. He just wasn't getting into it. Completely put an extra the race there. And then before then, the Mellon Turf course at Saratoga, an optional 100, a maiden special weight for 100,000. He finished fourth by 1/4 lengths. He was with them early on after not the best beginnings, and then he just kind of hit the wall. Do think he needs the experience, but he's been on the improve with every single race. Coming here with Lasix on again, 8-1. I love him a lot. You also have to give kudos to the 4-horse Shenso. This 3-year-old colt by Spicetown. Tom Pletcher trains. Ray Lou Gutierrez gets him out. Lasix for the first time. He ran him most recently on New Year's Day at Gulfstream. About a mile, the Diania Beach, where the horse finished second by head. He got caught at the wire, but what can you do? He just ran his heart out there, and then broke the main before that at Aqueduct, going 3/4 on the outer turf course, won by 2 lengths. Another very good, speedy victory. He's really been on the improve. 4-1. We'll give this horse a shot on the Space City Pick 6 that begins with this race. So to recount my selection for the 6 from Sam Houston, it's the Texas Turf Mile. Let's take the 2-horse Dowajek Chief. Give kudos to the 4-horse Shenso. 2-4-7-6 Super. Let's go 2-4 in that Pick 6. Let's get to the 7th. The 7th race from Sam Houston, it is the Houston Ladies Classic. It's a grade 3 event going for a purse of $400,000. Race for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 7 horses going to the main track this time, the distance of ground of 1,700 meters, or a mile 1/16 on the Sam Houston main track. 1,700 meters, a mile 16th here in the Houston Ladies Classic. My top selection, I'm going to go with the number 2 horse, Audrey's Time. We'll go 2-3-1-7 in the superfecta. 2-3-1-7 super. Top selection, 2 horse, Audrey's Time. This 5-year-old horse, 5-year-old mare by Uncle Mo. Neil Preeson trained this one. Corey Lannery gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came in a black type stakes fairgrounds, about a mile 70 yards on the 27th of December. And the horse won by 1/4 lengths. And she sat back early. Not a lot of forwardly pace that day, but she settled well, slowly moved her way up. When she got the lead, she quickened up nicely and got the job done. An all-around good race. Coming here today, no Lasix, off some decent runs. I think this horse could really run a good race. 2 backs ran the Fall Cities Handicapper Stakes at Churchill on the slot, mile 8th, on the 25th of November. She finished third by 9.5 lengths. She just kind of stalked all the way around the race course. Didn't know if she liked the wet going. She could have did a lot better. And prior to that, an optional 6-2 at Churchill, a mile and a quarter on the 5th of November. Keep in mind, if you watch Churchill and the Kentucky circuit in the last few months, they've been running a lot of mile and quarter races between Turfway, Churchill especially, and Ellis. There's just been a lot of those longer distance races. That day for the Phillies Mares, this horse put on a show, winning by 7 lengths from a stalking position. She just won for fun. An easy race, earning an 85 buyer there. Major improvement off the race before, which was on the lawn at Keeneland, about a mile and allowance race, 81,000. Finished 10th by 7.25 lengths there, and she just never really was comfortable. I thought she got beat by a lot better horses there, but coming here, not the world's toughest Houston ladies classics that we've seen in the past. I think she'd get a good trip at 7-2. Let's use her. You also have to give kudos to the 3 horse Pauline's Pearl. We'll definitely use her in the multi race. Joe Rosario is getting on this one for Steve Asmussen. Most recently, they ran the horse in the Zia Park Oaks, where she won by 1.5 lengths, coming from a little bit behind. I thought she ran a very good race there, earning a 96 buy, which was her best of her career. 2 back before then, the Remington Park Oaks. She finished second by 3 lengths, and she just kind of was lackadaisical. Needed that extra turn of foot, and then before then, the 7/8 at Charlestown, the Charlestown Classic. She finished second by 3.25 lengths, and I don't think she liked the smaller circumference of the track. I don't think she was comfortable getting around those tight turns, but she's faced very tough horses in 2021. Coming here today, not the world's toughest race. I think at 6-5, she's a definite winner also, so we'll use her in that Space City Pick 6. So to recap my selection for the 7th from Sam Houston, it's the Grade 3 Houston Ladies Classic. Let's take the 2 horse Audrey's Time. Give kudos to the 3 horse Pauline's Pearl. 2-3-1-7 Super. 2-3 in the multi-race. Let's get to the featured 8th race now from Sam Houston. The featured 8th race from Sam Houston, it is the John B. Connally Turf Cup. It's a grade 3 event going for a purse of $200,000. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have an oversubscribed field of 14 horses entered, but only 12 could go to the turf course. The distance of ground here of 2,400 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/2 on the Sam Houston Race Park turf course. 2,400 meters, a mile and a half here in the Connally. And I have to say, since they moved this race to a mile and a half about 5-6 years ago, I thought it's been getting better and better as the year goes on. And this is the kind of race that I think it's used as kind of a springboard towards those longer distance races in the spring here in the States, like that Belmont Gold Cup at Belmont over the 2 miles. You see a lot of horses that run in this race run in that race, so it's a good springboard for that, and it's a good springboard for the Keeneland races. And it's always been an exciting race, and wouldn't surprise me if this race gets a grade 2 in the next few years. Talking about grades earlier in the card, and also Friday they came out with the upgraded races for 2022. Like I said, if this race keeps going, I think it could be a grade 2 in the next few years. But my top selection, I love the 3-horse Tide of the Sea. We'll go 3, 4, 11, 2 in the superfecta. 3, 4, 11, 2 super. Top selection of 3-horse Tide of the Sea. 6-year-old horse by English Channel. Mike Maker trains. Tyler Gaffalione gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 20th of November here in New York at Aqueduct. Mount rates on the inner turf course in the Red Smith, and the horse finished 10th by 8.5 lengths. He's the kind of horse who will run these great races and throw clunkers in. He threw a clunker there in the Red Smith. He just really was with him early on, then completely hit the wall. It wasn't the day to win. Coming here, not the world's toughest race, off the bench, it's run very well, has some forwardly paced to win here. I think he gets some redemption for that previous race. Two back here on the 24th of October at Belmont, a mile and a half in the point of entry, and the horse finished fourth by 7 lengths. Again, he was with them early on, kind of hit the wall late, but he didn't go down without a fight. Shamrocket just rocketed to the victory there, and then before that, the Japan Turf Cup at Laurel, a mile and a half on the 2nd of October. He won by 1 3/4 lengths. With Lasix on that day, he had an easy position, stalked all the way around, got the lead, and he won for fun. It wasn't the world's toughest race, but he got the job done. And then before then, the Kentucky Downs Turf Cup at Kentucky Downs, mile and a half, 11th of September. He finished 11th by 29 lengths there, and he just never really could keep up on that very quirky turf course. And then before that, a mile and a quarter at Ellis in the Kentucky Downs Turf Cup preview. He finished fourth by 1 3/4 lengths. He was with him early on, but then he just kind of hit the wall a little bit too fast to that half mile that day. And then before then, the Grand Coutier on a mile and a half at Belmont. He placed that day. Gufo got to him late, but he still got beat by a good horse and still ran his heart out there. He had a great season last year, early on in the season. He does better running in the winter. He's going to see a very fast turf course. At 10-1, give him a shot. Do I think you're going to get 10-1 at post time? No, I do not. I think he'll get halved at post time. I think he'll go off somewhere around 4-1, something like that. But we're going to use him along with the 4-horse Strong Tide, this 5-year-old horse by English Channel. Michael Lauer trains when Giovanni Franco gets the mount. Most recently at a mile 3/16 at Oaklawn in optional 80 back in the 9th of January. On the dirt, the horse went by 2 3/4 lengths. He sat back early, slowly moved his way up, and he got the job done. An all-around good race at 17.5-1. Going to a mile and a half, which I think he should really like, should sit a little closer. I think he could really run a good race. Two back there in them, too much coffee, something I drink way too much of at Indiana. A mile 16th on the slop, 6th of October. He finished third by 4 3/4 lengths, and he just couldn't keep up there. His turf pit races are a lot better, when looking at buyers. I think he wants to go the mile and a half again. He should get a good trip from the inside post draw. At 12-1, we'll use him in this pick 6. And I also think you have to use the 11 horse here, who is A Journey to Freedom for Mike Maker. Joe Sorry gets him out. He placed behind Albin and the Alan Jerkins over the 2 miles. Went on to win yesterday in the Albin went on to win the McKnight yesterday at Gulfstream very, very easily on the front end. But this horse ran his heart out, cutting back to a mile and a half, which you don't see very often, should suit him well. And also, he should get a good trip, getting a very good finishing rider Rosario up. But to recount my selection for the 8th from Sam Houston, it is the Grade 3 John B. Connally Turf Cup. Let's take the 3-horse Tide of the Sea. We'll give kudos to the 4-horse Strong Tide and the 11-horse On Journey to Freedom. 3, 4, 11, 2 super. 3, 4, 11 in the multi-race. Let's get to race number 9 from Sam Houston. The 9th race from Sam Houston. It is the Stonerside Sprint. It's going for per $75,000. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field here of 12 horses heading to the main track. The distance of ground of 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs in the Stonerside Sprint. My top selection, I'm going to go take the number 8 horse here. The number 8 horse, who is Mojo Man, will go 8-1-5-7 in the superfecta. 8-1-5-7 super. Top selection 8 horse Mojo Man. This 7-year-old gelding by Stay Thirsty. James DeVito trains when A.T. Baird gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 14th of January at Oaklawn. 6 furlongs on op 6-2 claimer, and the horse finished 4th by 7 1/4 lengths there. It was a very tough allowance race there, and this horse just sat back early and just never could quicken up. First off, the long refreshing, I do think he needs to race. Coming here, not the world's toughest race, has some farther paced win here. I think the horse could really run a good race. Two back in listed 6 at Prescott, 6 furlongs on Topito, 23rd of August. The horse finished 2nd by 1.5 lengths and just kind of stalked all the way around the race course. a little bit wide and a little bit lackadaisical in the stretch. Just couldn't concentrate, and that cost him that day. And then before then, the Senate in Army at Indiana, 6 furlongs, 25th of July. The horse from by 2 1/4 lengths had a dream track position, slowly moves his way up a little bit wide, but he got the job done. And then they ran him in the Iowa Sprint before that at Prairie Meadows, 6 furlongs, 3rd July. He finished third by 7 lengths there. And again, he just never was really getting into it, but I think he does his better running a little bit closer to the pace. I think some of those races last summer, especially that Prairie race, he was just a little bit too far out of it. I think Baird's a very speed-favoring, very good speed rider. Going a little closer to the front end today with this horse should suit him well. 12-1 will use him on the ticket. You also have to use the one-horse County Final. Steve Asmussen trains. Joel Rosario gets him out most recently at Oakland in late December in a lounge race for just a measly $127,000 purse. The horse finished second by a half a length, and he had a horrible beginning that day. Was very stubborn throughout the earlier in the before the race also, but he went straight to the front and he got caught late. You know, he just had a lot of antics that day, which cost him. And then before that, a 5 furlongs lounge race just for $158,000 at Churchill. The horse won by a length and had the speed to win there. 89 Buyer, not the fastest race of his life, but he still got the job done. Coming here today, 6 furlongs, speed favoring track at times. At 9-2, we'll definitely use him in the multi-race. But to recap my selections for the 9th from Sam Houston's to Stonerside Sprint, let's take the 8-horse Mojo Man. Give kudos to the 1-horse County Final, 8-1-5-7 Super, 8-1 in the multi-race. Let's get to the 10th event. The 10th race from Sam Houston, it is the Jersey Lilly Turf. It's going for a purse $75,000. Race for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upwards. We have 14 horses entered, but keep in mind, only 12 could go to the turf course, the distance of ground of 1,700 meters, or a mile 1/16 on the Sam Houston Turf course. 1,700 meters, mile 16th here in the Jersey Lilly Turf. My top selection, we're going to go take the number 7 horse here at Catch a Bid. We'll go 7-5-2-11 in the superfecta, 7-5-2-11 super. Top selection, 7 horse Catch a Bid, 6-year-old mare by Real Solution. Joe Sharp trains. Court Lannery gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 26th December at the Fairgrounds, mile 16th in the Blushing Stakes, and the horse finished third by 1/2 lengths. He was with them early on, had the lead, and then looked like she was going to go away with it, but then she got caught late. She kind of hit the wall. It just wasn't her day to win. Slowing it down hopefully today from a stalling position. I think she can run a better race. Actually not too close. I thought they did rate her a little bit too close last time out. A little bit farther back to suit her well. Before that, in her Fairgrounds reappearance on the 25th of November on Thanksgiving, about a mile 16th in a black type stakes, she finished 9th by 7.5 lengths, and she was stupidly wide and just was flat that day. It wasn't her day to win. I think she needed the race. And then the Buffalo Frank County at Keeneland, soft ground, 5.5, 15th of October. She finished 7th by 9.75 lengths, and again, just had nothing. Some of her races in the fall were just very subpar. Coming here with Lasix back on should really, suit her well. She's run her better races with the Lasix. Her last victory was a very exciting victory. Last time Lannery rode the horse in the West Virginia President's Cup at Mountaineer, mile 70 on the 7th of August. She won by 2.25 lengths. She sat back early, a little bit wide, late, but she got the job done. An all-around good race. And then before that, an optional 100 at Belmont, 6 furlongs in her turf course, 24th of June. She finished second by 5.5 lengths there, and again, a little bit wide, but she was really closing up well. Sitting back here today with a good pace, I think at 3-1 she really run a good race. Along with the 5-horse Arm Candy, Steve Asmussen trains. Joel Rosario gets the mount. Most recently, they ran the horse in the Pago Hop, where she was drawn 11-11, which is not ideal. Over the mile trip at the Fairgrounds, she finished 7th by 3.25 lengths, and again, she was just wide throughout. Before then, the Valley View, she was facing 2 tough competition at Keeneland. But 3 back, she won very, very nicely at Keeneland in a 1-mile lounge race on lawn, winning by a half a length from a starting position. She took off clear. I think she's drawn well here today. She's getting a good rider up, training well. 6-1, let's use her. So to recap my selection for the 10th from Sam Houston, it's the Jersey Lilly Turf. Let's take the 7-horse Catch a Bid as a top selection. Give kudos to the 5-horse Arm Candy, 7-5-2-11 Super, 7-5 in the multi-race. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, everybody.